Alright, here we are on Hochst. The end of the fifth turn, moved over here, still haven't checked for the bridge. No bridge on the fifth turn though, I forgot until the end. Largely a recovery turn for everyone, but, and you can see no one's in charge anymore. We're all in either receive charge or rally. The Spanish wing did get a couple of units dislodged by the Protestant cav. Still very limited though. Just attacks. They slipped into rally, but we're still next to some Spaniards, so they could attack them, for example, over here. The Catholic artillery did a real bang-up job this turn, though. They got firing lanes, one of them coming right down here, I believe. These other ones too far away. They can still shoot, but not well. Gun here. These guns were able to... This one was able to go down this way. This one was able to hit here. So you've got some of those lights are beginning to take hits from the artillery. But I don't want to be too slow about it. I'm hoping... I'm going to wait until I can get both my infantry in play, though, to change things. Because I am getting a lot of artillery fire in, and that's helpful. So I don't want to go into charge until I get my other infantry lined up here and ready to hit. Trying to time things like that in this game is tough, though. You end up missing a turn or something because of it. Alright, I guess that's... Oh, Cordoba's running off the map with his unit. He might just want to let that go. He'll try to rally it, but... I mean, he has a successful rally. And then he can move himself afterwards and keep everybody else in command the way I understand the rules. Alright. Both sides still recovering on turn 6. The bridge is now open. You don't see a mad rush of Protestants off there, as Brian pointed out. And I was aware of this. You got to wait a while before you make that mad rush, in a sense. Because the Catholics are going to get a lot of points if they just... If the Protestants can charge off giving the Catholics a lot of points, and then the Catholics are giving themselves a lot of points, but then the Catholics can also charge right off if you have no troops there. So basically what you have to do is you do have to delay them for a significant amount of time. The question that I was raising in my video had to do with, earlier, had to do with these defensive positions. They're probably not worth holding once you make that retreat effort, because otherwise you will lose your units. But it might be worth sitting there just to prevent the entire center from being able to cross easily. If you can tie them down there longer, that's more points. But Catholics don't get any points after turn 15 for exiting the map. So the Protestants have to hold the field for a significant amount of time, even so. Battered, damaged units that, you know, aren't worth anything, though, pulling them off the map and over the bridge is definitely a good option for the Protestants. The Catholics do want to charge through hell now, though. Alright. Well, passed through turn 7 without anything significant happening. I ignored it. But now on turn 8, we have the center wing of the Catholics surrounded this defensive position here and was just firing into it. Ended up getting so broken they had to drop into rally in order to recover, so they have any chance. They couldn't assault or anything. Again, they couldn't do a melee. So, well, now they're in rally, which is tough to get out of, but they can trade shots during that while they're trying to wait. This unit is in a lot of trouble with all these lights firing at it. They actually are firing at +1, so they will chisel it down eventually. Alright, rest of the turn, I guess. Well, the Protestants get chased away down here by the Cav. Now the Cav's got to recover again, so it's thrown itself back into rally until he was helping too. Just trying to get it back into the open order so it can cross these swamps and cope with them. That's not an easy task, even with the light defense in the way. However, the Protestants are making the Catholic job easier. They surged forward to try to push the Cav back, the Spanish wing, and that wing wasn't really too big a threat for a while, but if they could demolish it, then they could swing that heavy infantry over and really kind of screen this area as it is. They're just not sure their Cav's able to stand up on even terms to the Catholic Cav. However, they pretty much wrecked their own wing doing it, trying. They've certainly slowed down knocking some of the Cav back, but they destroyed themselves 3 heavy units just trying to push forward there, because the Spanish heavy infantry is better quality, basically. At one point it became impossible to stop the advance, which is one of the cool things in this game, as I've remarked before. I think and we've lost 2 of our leaders here from those 2 wings, so the Protestants are in a lot of trouble. All we have left is Cordoba. He's in rally. He's gonna try to save his units. Some of them are heading for the hills. Oh crap. I just noticed all my Catholics are in rally. Officially they lost the battle. It was through my error of not noticing it. So I'm going to let them pass it this turn, but they've got to come out of rally or else they'll flee. If no single unit makes it out of rally this turn, I've got a problem. There was no reason for me to drop into rally with everything except I was in charges and trying to reform. You'll also notice the unit in here dissolved. Now, in some ways, it's an unfair advantage to the Catholics to allow them to have been in rally, but I can't reverse this. It's too complex at this point to go back and try to figure out, well, what would have happened. It's just too much. But I don't think they should be penalized. But they got one chance to get at least 1 unit out of it. So 3 units that they get a shot at. Tilly can't help out either. Managed to save the Catholics. Only Cordoba came out. Everybody else tried, but not too hard. Everybody was trying to get into receive charge because they have a lot of formation changes to make, and that's the only efficient way to do it, is either in that or rally. The reason they went to rally was it was easier to get to those formation changes rather than any kind of, oh my god, I'm really demolished here. Cordoba is in questionable shape, but he had some decent units still up here. So now the Protestants' job is harder. If they could force Cordoba into a rally, that would be fine, but they're not going to be able to do that easily. So now it becomes kind of alright, now I'm out of position after having pushed him across, and it's going to be painful to extricate from those streams. My units aren't doing what they wanted to. I was much, much better back here at the line where I thought I should be, letting the Catholics come forward. Advancing with those Protestant infantry was just a mistake. The Cav couldn't do the job. They weren't able to convert into a charge when they needed to, and then, well, they were able to get into make ready, which after the Protestant infantry charged, but that was a really, really bad situation. My best instincts were to hold back and pick things off as they come up, and that would have worked. Alright, well, now the Catholics have, I think, a fairly easy job ahead of them. We'll see. Protestants try to save the day by breaking Cordoba's big infantry formation in the front, and there were some cav around, some light infantry. Most of it they did fine against, but hitting this thing was just horrible. They lost 2 cav battalions trying to hit that. Well, yeah, I think this one made an attack on a cav unit and then ran into the guns there and ran away too. So even the Protestant cav reserve is pretty heavily taxed at this point. It had been in good shape. I thought, well, if anything can save the day, maybe it's them. They're the only thing with any mobility left. I'm never going to swing these guys out of that swamp easily. And we see the main Catholic force swinging by the defenses, getting ready to smack through these last remaining defensive positions. Some of the Protestants, well, these guys running. This is Catholics from Cordoba that couldn't find a way out other than heading out the wrong way, essentially. I think this is going to be a pretty good Catholic victory in the end. We'll see. The point-wise, I'm not sure how it's going to turn out, but this definitely seems like they've broken the will of the Protestants to be able to resist here. These guys are just so lost up here. And that means the heavy infantry, well, it's moving forward, it's recovering a little bit. Cordoba is going to be back on the scene and able to kind of push things back so that there's nothing to support this when the heavies come up and just bash their way through that. That should be significantly easier than dealing with the heavy infantry that was positioned in those ruins. This side, that's over. I mean, it's just a matter of these forces coming across, and they're now all in open order. They've got to get out of rally. They couldn't get out of rally yet. Alright, we push into the 12th turn here, and you can see the Catholic center has kind of pushed its way forward. It's driven out of the redoubts. There's still one being held. The Protestant cav mainly trying well, this is the light infantry. Most of the Protestant cavs getting pretty shattered up. Still got a few units here, a couple up here that are in bad shape but can't really extricate themselves easily. I'm not sure why they didn't get moved. They should have had to move due to command control restrictions. Let's get them out of there. They took some fire that they wouldn't have had to, but they would have taken some sort of opportunity fire there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, this guy's, they're probably formation broken. This guy's not. What about this guy? He's not either. Alright, well, we'll figure him out in a moment. 1, 2, 3, 4. They had to try to make their way out of there. But trying to extricate that infantry, I thought they were kind of screened by the cav, and that's not really the case. I don't know how much time they have to get out. They're in rally formation or orders, so they're only going to get one action each. Over here, the Catholic cav made its way down, and then couldn't get a continuation. I moved Tilly up here to try to spur these guys on. He's much better here with this commander to help get continuations or orders changes or such not than whatever extra rallying he can do. The artillery finished what was up here off along with these infantry advancing. I'm going to have to look at the rules on getting off the map again, just because that's the kind of thing I forget about. I kind of come up with my plan, and well, now I got to really kind of look at it point-wise. I know the Protestants don't want to leave until turn 15, except, with injured stuff like this, they might be willing to. In fact, that's why this guy was facing this way. I turned him around on his rally, but I don't want him that way. And got to rally these guys, try to get... They don't count. They're just lights, so if they rally, that's all just extra padding to keep in the way. That kind of stuff you want defending this line to prevent the advance. Alright, well, I'll take a look at the rules for the leaving the map, play one more turn, and then go to bed for the night. One little thing in the rules that really ought to change here, Rule 10.8.6, all in, there's no header text for it. There really should be the cav sidestep. I think there used to be, and it maybe just got dropped or whatever, but it's been really hard to find without the header text. I scanned for that because that's the style of this rule book. Well, it's the end of the 12th. The thing I was looking up, having to do with the rivers and the bridge, moving the Catholics off to the river is not really viable at this point. They're just not worth that many points, and it looks like they have free reign to get to the bridge with this cav wing. We got routing units running off the board from their cav. We've actually got one cav unit that made it off the board. It is a little damaged. Better to get the victory points for it. I'm trying to get that heavy infantry down. It looks like a complete Protestant rout, though. They're just in terrible shape. This wing's gone, and what's here is just too weak. I'm turning the infantry and trying to run. That leaves Cordoba's infantry. Now, Cordoba's got a hard time activating because he's a 0 leader. So there's a good chance he might not be able to take advantage of the fact the Protestants are turning and running, but they can't get out of rally. They want to get into, really make ready so that they can position themselves in front of this and make one last stand to try to delay victory points from exiting, but they're just not going to get there. The cav is in receive charge. It has more of a chance of getting out of that. I'll pull them down if I can, but they're not really very active either. They can only move one hex. And hey, one Catholic gun fired. Clear that space. Otherwise, there really isn't a lot of Protestant units left to fight. All right, I'm going to send this one up.